Hi everyone, my name is H. David Lang, and I'd like to start this exercise in this speech by having you guys just all close your eyes for a minute while I talk to you, okay? I want you to imagine a man in his mid-30s, and he wakes up kind of in a daze. He's dirty, he's disheveled, his fingernails are cracked, his hands are black. He's alone in a storage room that him and his friends managed to rent for a few dollars. They sneak into it at night to sleep. He's alone. His friends are gone, he's schizophrenic, and he's off his medication. And for the first time in a long time, he's kind of out of his daze, and he knows who he is, and he knows where he is. So it's a good day for him because he knows what's going on, but it's a bad day for him because he knows what's going on. And he knows that he's alone, and he's cold, and he's homeless, and he's scared. He's tried halfway homes. He's tried living with his family. His family has tried to help him, but sooner or later, he goes off his meds, the voices come back, and he ends up on the street again. And he knows real soon that his friends are going to be back, probably with some food, but more than likely with some drugs and alcohol, and he's going to go back into that daze, and he doesn't know how long it'll be before he comes out of it again. And he doesn't want to live like that anymore. So unfortunately, he drags a chair to the center of the room, ties a rope around a pipe on the ceiling, climbs on the chair, ties the rope around his neck, and he jumps. And that's every day in America. Around 550,000 people, you can open your eyes if you want, are homeless on any given night, according to HUD. And for those people, a study published in the Harvard Public Health Institute says that their suicide rate is 9 to 10 times as high as the average person with a home.
Terrible.
And I want to take a few minutes to kind of talk about that today, mental health and homelessness. You know, go over the misconceptions that people have about homelessness, what we can do to help, including a program called Housing First that's working here in Florida, and what happens if we don't do something about it, if we just keep thinking it's not my problem. Now, first off, we really kind of need to go over the misconceptions that people have about homelessness. A lot of people think, oh, they prefer living on the streets. They like it. It's nice outdoors. That's not true. They've been forced out of their homes by high rents. They've got mental health issues. They've got drug problems, and they can't get their finances together to pay their rent every month, and so they end up on the street. And second, they're drug addicts. Why should we help them? Well, you're already paying for them. You pay for them to go to the hospital, you pay for them to go to the emergency room, and you pay for them to go to prison. And it's a lot less expensive to pay for them to go to a studio apartment. And third, they're lazy. Why don't they just get a job? Well, a large portion of the homeless are working. Part-time, somewhat. They live in halfway home. They live in their cars. They live in tents, and they try to work. But what happens when you lose your job and you're homeless? How do you get a new job? What's the first thing they put on an application? What's your address? How do you get a job without an address? Without being able to wash your hands every night, take a shower before you go to work, clean your clothes? You can't. So what can we do? What's available to help us? Well, homeless populations across the country are booming, according to HUD. In California, you can see they're up 43% in Alameda, they're up 16% in Los Angeles. But here in Florida, and especially Central Florida, where the mayor adopted a Housing First program, they're down. We're one of the few major cities in the country where homelessness is down. And what Housing First does is it says, I'm not going to worry about why you're homeless. I'm going to put you in a home, and then we're going to offer you secondary services. Most programs offer you secondary services, and if you go to the meetings enough and you follow enough rules, they might put you in a home. Well, that doesn't work for a lot of people. What works is stuffing them in a home. It's not the nicest thing, but it works. And according to Orlando Sentinel and HUD, it's working really well here. Housing First has up to an 88% success rate compared to 47% for conventional services. And that's according to the Journal of Legal Studies and the Academy of Health. The Academy of Health says it works best on the chronically homeless. Those mentally ill, drug addicts, people like that, who can't go through the system, they've been through it 20 times, they're done with the system. They won't go through it. But if you just put them in a house, they'll stay there. They'll stay off the street. And what that does is it stops incarcerations, it stops emergency room visits, and it stops hospital visits. All things that come out of your pocket as taxpayers. So what happens if you don't help? Well, the Atlantic, along with Kaiser Health News, is reporting in cities like Los Angeles and Portland, in these giant tent cities, the return of medieval diseases. Things like typhus, tuberculosis, trench fever, hepatitis are rampant in these giant tent cities because you can't have people living in the streets in swill. It's like being in the 1400s again. You get suicide rates. Some places are saying now, it used to be 9%, now they're saying as high as 10% higher, or 10 times higher than the average rate. Those numbers keep climbing as these numbers keep climbing. And third, we run the risk of becoming hardened to these kind of disasters, to thinking that, why do I care? It's not affecting me. It's not affecting my friends. Why do I care? Well, you have to care because it is affecting your friends. The kid in that story, beginning of this, was my brother. So it does affect people. It affects people all around you. So what I need you to do is keep in mind that it's not too late to help fight for people, to help fight for your fellow man, to help fight for somebody who might be somebody's brother, sister, cousin, grandchild. Remember that those things you heard about the homeless aren't true. They don't want to be there. That there is ways to help them. And that you have to pay attention because it will affect you and your family sooner or later. So what I'd like is, if you're interested at all in finding out more about Housing First initiatives, I'd like you to raise your hand. All right. So they're very easy to find out about. They're available, actually, if you look up just about anything about what we do here in Florida, or if you Google just Housing First Initiative, you'll find out more. And what I'd like you to do, if you'll be willing to, is to look up some of that information. And after you've done it, can I see a show of hands? If any of you are interested, would you be willing to contact your governor, your mayor, anyone, and push for those kind of initiatives so that this kind of thing doesn't have to happen to other families? Thank you.